My name is Jessica, and I work the night shift at a small cafe tucked away on a street corner in Los Angeles. Though it's a small place, it's always busy in the evenings. Most of the customers are locals, office workers from nearby, and occasionally lost tourists looking for a hot cup of coffee. My job is pretty routine, easy, and I've gotten used to it. Weekends are obviously busier, but the weeknight shifts are usually quieter. The nights blend together with the same shelves, the same routine, and the dull hum of the overhead lights. What's particularly special about my job is that I work alone during the night shifts. The cafe is small. There's no security guard, no advanced security system. On quiet nights, I still feel the isolation of the job. However, I always have to stay alert because sometimes strange customers come in and make me feel uneasy. They enter as though they know this place is meant for people seeking solitude. Yet something in their eyes makes me feel like I'm standing in front of a potential threat. One Tuesday night, when the clock struck past 1 a.m., I was behind the bar, wiping down tables. At that time, the cafe was eerily silent. Only the sound of the wind howling outside and the dim yellow lights casting long shadows on the tile floor, while soft music played from the speakers. A man walked in. He looked unusual, dressed in a black shirt and long coat. His hair was neatly combed, and his cold eyes made me feel a bit uneasy. Despite this, he carried himself calmly, almost as if he'd been here many times before. He stepped in with a confidence that made him seem like a regular, though I had never seen him before. He sat at the bar and ordered a top-shelf drink. As I was preparing his drink, he struck up a conversation with me. "Do you like working here?" he asked with a polite smile. I answered casually, saying that I didn't have any complaint about the job, but didn't feel anything special about it either. He smiled back and continued, "Have you ever thought about doing something bigger?" That question was a little strange, but I didn't think much of it. After a few minutes of chatting, he asked me what time I got off. That question surprised me. He hadn't flirted with me or seemed interested in anything other than conversation, so I was a bit caught off guard. I gave him a vague answer and quickly went back to wiping down the counter. He didn't press further, just smiled as if he knew something I didn't, finished his drink, and placed a crisp $100 bill on the bar. Without another word, he walked out into the night. It was odd, but I didn't think much of it. I figured I'd never see him again and got back to my work. A week later, he returned. This time, he wasn't alone. A woman accompanied him. She had a striking appearance, but something about her was off. She eyed me closely and then said, "You're so beautiful." Her fingers brushed against my arm, lingering just a little longer than normal. I smiled awkwardly, but immediately felt something was wrong. The man remained silent, not speaking a word. She started asking me questions about my job, my age, and other small talk questions that felt more like an interrogation. A moment later, she said, "We host exclusive events, and I'm looking for young, fun people to join. You'll make $10,000 for the weekend." I tried to smile politely, but a sense of dread began to settle in. It didn't sound right. She kept pushing, saying, "It's safe, fun, exclusive." I felt an intense need to get away from this conversation, but I didn't want to seem rude. "You should step outside for a moment. Someone can explain it better," she added, with an almost rehearsed casualness. My stomach twisted. I didn't even try to hide my unease anymore. "I'm good," I replied firmly, without a smile this time. Just then, a group of customers walked in, laughing and talking loudly. Her friendly mask slipped for just a second before she turned to a man beside her. Without another word, they left. I couldn't shake off the feeling that I had just narrowly escaped something horrible. They hadn't physically threatened me, but something about the entire encounter felt wrong. I told my co-workers and boss about the incident, and we agreed to keep an eye out should they return. My boss assured me that he was always just a 15-minute drive away, and the cafe security cameras usually deterred any bad behavior. But deep down, I knew something was still off. The nights after that, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. Every time I looked out, I saw their car parked in a dark corner. Every time I drove home, I noticed it following me, always staying just far enough behind to avoid suspicion. My heart pounded as I drove. try to convince myself that it was just my imagination. But then one night, as I was heading home after work, I saw their car parked across the street. I froze, a chill creeping up my spine. It couldn't be a coincidence. As I turned to leave, the car started following me again. I could feel my panic rising. I finally decided to take a detour and drove straight to a police station. The second I pulled in, the car sped off. I sighed in relief, but knew it wasn't over. A week later, after closing up, I saw her again. This time, I couldn't let my guard down. She walked in, greeted me with the same fake smile, and said, "I came to check on you." My stomach churned, but I did my best to act as normal as possible. She asked for an old-fashioned drink, and I made it for her. As I was preparing the drink, I heard a soft rattle from the back door. Someone was trying to get in. I quickly locked the door and dialed 911, gripping a metal shaker as a weapon. I didn't think the police would make it in time. Then the van appeared. I saw headlights pulling into the lot. At that moment, the noises at the back door stopped, and the van screeched away as my boss arrived. We reviewed the security footage together, and it was worse than I'd imagined. Just before she left, the cameras had captured two masked figures crouching by the front door, while another person banged on the back door, trying to flush me out. The license plate of the van, which my boss had noted, turned out to be fake. The authorities couldn't trace it, and the investigation led to nowhere. It's been a while since that incident, but I haven't been able to get out of my head. I'm no longer scheduled to work alone during night shifts, but the unsettling feeling remains. I still can't understand how they knew I'd be alone that night. I often think about what might have happened if I had given in to fear and run out the front door. My name is Alex, and I work the night shift at a small convenience store on the outskirts of Los Angeles, California. It's not the worst job in the world, but after a while, it feels like I'm just floating through time. The nights blend together. Same shelves, same routine, same dull hum of the overhead lights. It's quiet and almost peaceful, but there's an unsettling feeling in the air that I can't shake. I stand at the counter, staring at the empty aisles. Every now and then, a trucker or a couple of late-night customers will stop by, but otherwise, it's just me and the silence. It's always like this. The only sound is the quiet buzz of the fridge and the occasional clink of the register as I make a sale. But tonight, something feels off. Then he walks in. A man in his late 40s, dressed in a black suit and dark turtleneck, steps into the store. He's tall, sharply dressed, and looks out of place. His eyes scan the store, and I notice his posture, rigid and controlled. He walks to the shelves, but doesn't pick anything up. Instead, he just stands there, staring ahead. I keep working, trying not to pay attention, but my eyes can't help but wander back to him. He hasn't moved, hasn't touched anything. Just staring. It's eerie. A few minutes later, the man walks over to the counter. I try to focus on the register, but I can feel his eyes on me. When he finally speaks, his voice is calm, almost too calm. "Can I get a bottle of water?" he asks. I nod, hand him the bottle, try to maintain a neutral expression, but he continues staring at me. "Do you ever feel like you're just stuck?" he asks out of nowhere. I pause, not expecting the question. "Stuck?" I reply, unsure what he means. "I mean, not really. I'm just doing my job." He doesn't smile, but he nods as if he expected that answer. There's a long pause, and then he asks, "Have you ever felt like someone was watching you?" I freeze. The question hits me like a cold wave. I chuckle nervously and shake it off. "Not really. I think you're just overthinking it," I say, trying to brush off the unease building in my chest. He just nods again, then pays and walks out without another word. But his eyes linger on me, and the hairs on the back of my neck stand up as he disappears into the night. About a week later, I'm closing up the store, checking the shelves one last time before locking up. The night is quiet, too quiet. That feeling of unease from the other night is back. I keep glancing around the store, but nothing seems out of the ordinary. Then I see it again. The same car parked outside. It's a black sedan parked across the street. The headlights are off, and the engine is silent. For a moment, I wonder if it's the same car from last week. I can't tell if I'm just paranoid or if something is truly wrong. I step outside to check the car, but when I get close, there's no one inside, just an empty car sitting in the darkness. I glance around the parking lot, my heart starting to race. It's too quiet, too still. Then, just as I turn to head back inside, I hear it, the faint sound of footsteps behind me. I spin around, but there's nothing there, only the shadows creeping in the corners of the lot. The hair on my neck rises, and I rush back into the store, locking the door behind me. Later that night, around 2 a.m., I'm at the counter, checking out a customer when I hear the door creak open. I glance up to see a woman standing in the doorway. Her smile is wide, too wide. She's dressed in bright, trendy clothes, but there's something off about her. She strides confidently toward me as if she knows me. She places her hand on my arm and leans in, her voice dropping to a whisper. "I've been looking for you." I freeze, unsure what to say. She continues with an unsettling calmness. "He's been watching you. He's been recording you." I glance over at the man. He's standing at the back of the store, just staring at me with an emotionless expression. My pulse quickens, and the cold sweat starts to form at the back of my neck. I need to go, I say, try and pull my arm away from her grasp, but she holds tight. "No, you need to come with me," she says almost soothingly. I try to pull away, but she's much stronger than I expected. She drags me through the aisles, past the self-checkout, until we're near in the back of the store, where the dim light barely reaches. I feel my stomach drop. There's something wrong here. Something very wrong. I'm now fully aware of what's happening. My body is telling me to run, but my feet feel glued to the floor. The woman is still pulling me along, her grip tightening with every step. My heart is pounding so loudly I think she might hear it. We're almost at the back exit now, the one that leads to the alley, where the cameras don't reach. My brain screams at me to fight back, to scream for help, but I know it'll be too late. I glance over my shoulder and see him. He's following us. Suddenly, everything clicks. I'm being dragged to the back of the store. This isn't just an accident. They're after me. No, I'm not going. I yell, jerking my arm free from her grip. I make a break for it, running toward the front of the store. But as soon as I turn the corner, I hear her yell, "Come back!" I don't look back. I run as fast as I can, my feet pounding the floor, my breath coming in short gasps. I don't care if I scream anymore. I'm going to make it to the front door. When I reach the front, I see one of my co-workers running toward me. He looks terrified. "What's happening?" he asks, wide-eyed. "Call security." I scream. Security arrives, and the police soon follow. As they review the footage from the store's cameras, a chilling truth emerges. The woman and the man were in the store together the entire time. But what's worse is that when I looked at the footage, I saw something I hadn't noticed before. There was a third person in the store, hiding in the shadows. The woman had been watching me the whole time. She knew who I was. She knew my name. She was planning this from the very beginning. The police later traced the vehicle. It turned out to be stolen, and there were no further leads. The worst part? No one had reported it missing until I made the connection. This wasn't random. This was an accident. I still don't understand how they knew me, how they knew my name. But I know one thing for sure. I was never meant to be just a random victim. I was a target. And the worst part is, I still don't feel safe. Every time I walk into that store, I feel their eyes on me. I know they're still out there, watching, waiting. And it's only a matter of time before they come back.